pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Asha Samaroo. I know I originally said that I will be on at 4 p.m. Trinidad time. I've decided to change that. Let me button my shirt here. Oh, hold on, my phone is falling down. I don't want to keep holding the phone, while I speak. So pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for those of you who were thinking that I would do my video at 4. I decided to do my video a little earlier. Good afternoon, Lisa. How are you, darling? I do hope that you are having a pleasant day. Before I start my video, I would say hi to the ladies. Okay? Hold on. So, pleasant good afternoon, ladies. My name is Asha Samaroo. I'm the CEO and founder of the Asha Samaroo Foundation. I started this foundation to bring awareness of different types of abuse. Initially, the foundation I formed was based on me telling my life story about being an sexually abused child at the age of 6. So after I told my story, in July of 2017, women like yourselves came out and said to me, why don't you do something, Asha? Do something for us women. Do something to help women to speak out. And I then formed the Asha Samaroo Foundation, legally registered in Trinidad and Tobago. We are not a charitable organization. However, we do try to help one another. If there's a woman, a single mother in need, we do try to help. So pleasant good afternoon to everyone. Welcome aboard. And today our video is going to be a recap of Asha Samaroo's childhood. So sit back, relax. I know you all are in quarantine and we are going to make this a video down memory lane to help other women and children, young girls out there to learn that they have done nothing wrong when they have been violated and when anyone does to them feels wrong. It is okay to speak out, right? So welcome aboard, everyone. So, Salisha, Reshma, Shaban, Sabna, we have Kathy from St. Vincent. Hi, Kathy, love you, baby. Shio, Desha, Nikki. Hi, sweetheart, Nikki, darling. Yes. Good afternoon. Hi, Mirage. How are you, darling? Welcome, ladies. Okay? So, I did tell this story, and I'm going to retell my story. Let me make myself comfortable. Okay, let's see if we get ready for the ladies here. Are you ladies ready? Good. To the newcomers, my name is Asha Samaroo. Some of you would know me on social media, always seeing me defending myself against bullies on social media. It may not be in a right manner at some times, but it's the best way I know how. It's a learning process. My name is Asha Samaroo. I'm the CEO and founder of the Asha Samaroo Foundation. Ladies and gentlemen, I was a child. I came from a broken home. I'm only child for my mother and father. My father remarried and have 5 daughters. My mother remarried and have 2 sons and 1 daughter. And growing up, my life was I wouldn't say my life was miserable or bad or good. It was confusing. It was confusing and it was hurt. Very hurt. I had a very hurt childhood. My mother used to leave us with my grandparents because my mother was a single mother after my father and her separated. And it was very hard for my mother to take care of my stepbrother. He's also on social media. I see he's doing political views. That's very good. You're doing well on your political views. Try to stop cursing so much to get your point across, Ravi. You're doing great. Keep it up on your political views. Also, ladies and gentlemen, it was, my mother was a single parent. It was very hard for her to take care of us. So she entrusted me to my grandparents, which is her mother and father. My mother has brothers and sisters. And while growing up with my grandparents, my mother would come back and forth, and take me to be with her. She used to live 6th Avenue, Barataria, Malik Barataria, Sanwa. Because my grandparents, my grandmother's sisters are there from Maula Trace, Arangwes. Ladies, I'm seeing your comment, right? So I'm focusing on my story. Right? So forgive me if I'm not calling you all out today and saying hi, okay? So I was a little girl about the age 6. And, growing up with my mother's sisters and brothers, my grandfather was a cane farmer, and my grandmother used to sell Princestown Market. Her name was known as Dolly Mahabir, and they would call her Black Dolly, right? For those of you in the Princestown area. Now, the reason I'm recapping this, I want the newcomers to know who I am and how my story started. So that is the reason I'm telling my story back to the viewers, right? Because I have a lot of new followers. I was 6 years old, and I'm getting distracted by messages coming in there. My mother have 4 brothers. Uncle Leo, who has just passed away. Aaron, my mother's last brother, who was hit by a truck. His brains crushed in the road and he died. And Winston Mahabir, one of my mother brothers who violated me. And he also died. He died a few months after I came forward and told the world what happened to me. And then we have Dwarika Mahabir, who lives in New York, Long Island, the social media bully, the mastermind behind all the bullying that is going on, that people are attacking and cursing me, trying to degrade me and all of that. He still continues up to this day to abuse me verbally on social media because I told the world that he violated me as a child. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I was 6 years old. You know those pretty little frilly underwears with the flowers in the bottom? The older parents would know that. I don't know if you older parents would know the underwear with the frill in the bottom. We used to call it the panty with the rose in the bottom. Right. My grandmother used to buy underwear like that for me. And I'd have on my little dress. My dresses were always short, and my underwear was longer than my dresses. My mother's 2 brothers, Winston Mahabir and Dwarika Mahabir, they both would take me to the back room. My grandfather had an upstairs, downstairs wooden home. It was consisted of 3 bedrooms. My grandfather used to sleep in the first bedroom. All the sisters used to sleep in the second bedroom. My grandmother used to sleep in the living room in a bed. My mother's last brother, Aaron, used to sleep on a mattress on the ground in the living room. And the next 2 brothers used to live in the back room. Deborah, thank you. Right now, right now I'm telling a story because I saw your, I saw your comment. But please, ladies, we don't want to get distracted by the video, okay? We want to tell the story, right? We have a time for laughing, we have a time for cussing, we have a time for putting the bullies in their place, and we have a time for having fun, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, my mother 2 brothers, Winston Mahabir and Dwarika Mahabir. Winston has now passed away. My phone is skating down. Hold on. Winston Mahabir has now passed away, right? Hold on. And they would take me to the back room, not together at the same time. I do not know if both of them knew that they were doing it to me. I do not know that. And I can hold the Holy Bible, the Holy Gita, and the Holy Quran, and I can swear to you. The both of them would take me to the back room, not at the same time. And Dwarika and Winston, I'll tell you what they used to do to me. Hold on, I'm looking for a picture because I did promise that you all will look at that picture. I should have had it ready before I started the video. The picture of me when I was a child, so you all will have a memory of me being a child. I want you to picture me as a child. Hence the reason I'm going to show you the picture of me when I was a child. There you are. So they both would take me at the same time. This is me as a child. In the back bedroom. Not together with each other. Right? They would take me to the back bedroom. And they would take my little panties off. And they would put their fingers up in me. And they would finger me up. And they would suck me. Perform oral sex. Winston Mahabir, who has now passed away, I could still smell the cigarette smell on his breath when he would take his tongue and shove it down my mouth. I will never forget the smell of his cigarette with his tongue shoved down my mouth. Winston would suck me and he would put his fingers up in me and feel me up with my vagina. They never made me perform oral sex on them. They would do things to me. And then I would go sit on the stairs when Winston is finished with me, the front step. On a Sunday, my grandmother, together with all my aunts, we all would sit on the step and listen to Auntie Kay. I will never forget that. Auntie Kay used to tell stories on a Sunday. So we all used to sit on the front step and listen to Auntie Kay. Now remember, my grandmother sells Princestown Market. My grandfather was a cane farmer and he also used to sell in the market. My mother's sisters were attending Princestown Senior Sec. They were going to St. Julian Presbyterian School. I would be home. My brother, Ravi Mahabir, who you see on social media, speaks a lot about political issues. He used to curse me. He would be in the yard playing marble pitch together with Bobby, which is our cousin, which is my mother's eldest brother who just passed away, Uncle Leo's son. Bobby used to be like the Cardi boy. They would have him doing all the odd jobs. And then Dwarika would take me. Dwarika would take me in the back room. Dwarika Mahabir, the same man you see that still abuses me on social media. Verbally curses women, disrespects women. And Dwarika Mahabir would take his mouth and suck my vagina. I remember his beard burning me on my vagina. He would take his fingers and finger me up. And I would lay there crying. They would give me coins to tell me, stay quiet. Don't tell anybody. And I would go and sit on that front stairs, ladies and gentlemen. And they would pass and kick me on my back. When I'm sitting there crying after they do what they did to me because my vagina is burning. And they would say, hey girl, what you sit down there doing? What you crying there to do? When I was a child, I used to thief sugar from a pigtail bucket my grandfather used to buy in bulk. And when I thief the sugar and they catch me stealing the sugar, for me not to get licks from my grandfather, they have to suck me, they have to finger me up. They have to sexually molest me so that they would not tell my grandfather for me to get licks for stealing the sugar. Picture me, ladies. This is me, Asha Samaroo, when I was a child. Look at my face. Don't look at me as an adult. I want you to picture a child. Picture a child. Look at my little underwear. Look at my little dress. Look at my face. This is me, Asha Samaroo, as a child. I endured this for God knows how long. God knows maybe they did me more and I couldn't remember. And I would cry, I'd be scared, and sometimes I will show them so much affection that I would wonder what is wrong with me. I would want to be around them, and I don't know why. But I'll come to that because after taking therapy, I'll tell you why I wanted to build a bond with my abusers. I'll tell you. So keep looking at this picture, and I want you to picture your child. I want you to picture a child. I want you to picture me, a helpless baby, 6 years old. What was going through my mind? I'm sorry, Trevlon, you refuse to picture this, but this is reality, sweetheart. And I need women out there to start listening to their children. I need mothers out there to protect their children. Because it is happening. It is real, and it is happening as real as the COVID-19 is here. Child sexual abuse is real. Child exploitation is real. And it is happening. They were not the only ones to touch me and sexually molest me. They were not the only ones, ladies and gentlemen. My mother used to come and take my brother and I back and forth from Sanwa, where she used to live. She had a friend, a male companion. His name was Bob. That's all I know him by. I told her of this, and I think someone killed him, and she said it's good he dead. Right? One day, Bob was at the home of my mother's apartment, and my mother was cleaning up the house, and he said, well, let me carry Asha for a walk now. My mother said, no problem. Go ahead, because he was living 8th Avenue, and she was living 6th Avenue. And my mother sent me to walk with him around the savannah. We used to live opposite the RC school in Orang West. There was a shatine tree there. I will never forget that. And he took me to his apartment. Picture me. Picture me, ladies. And Bob took me to his apartment. Fall Guy was going on in TV. I will never forget that. And he took out my little jeans and he performed oral sex on me. And when he finished, he put me on top of his tiled concrete kitchen sink and washed me off. And I remember it burning me. I'm giving you more things to Sunshine, Kia, and Twiggy, who has been cursing me on social media, giving you more things to laugh at. I'm giving you more things to mock me as a victim, as a survivor. These 3 African women in Trinidad and Tobago who has been bullying me and violating me on social media because I told my story. They're going to use this to further laugh. I never told my mother because he said if I tell my mother would beat me. And my mother used to beat me. So I never told my mother. I'll tell you when I told my mother. The story goes on. Dwarika Mahabir. We're going to leave Winston out now because Winston has passed away. And I'm glad he's dead. I'm glad he suffered and he died. He choked on his own spit. One of my abusers, and he died. He died a few months after I came publicly and told the world they violated me as a child. I could remember that back room. And as I'm facing you this way, the smell, the vague picture, the memory of that back room lingers in my mind, my body, and my soul. I will never forget. There was a dining table. I'm facing you, right before that back bedroom. We would walk around the dining table. My grandmother had a ware cabinet where you put wares in. A ware cabinet in the corner. And then there was a window. And then there's the bedroom door. The window used to overlook the tank, the water tank. And you enter the back bedroom. When you enter the back bedroom, There was the wardrobe on your left-hand side with a window next to that wardrobe. And the bed head was facing that way with a window by the bed head. And the foot of the bed, there were boxes and baskets of clothing. I could still smell the musky smell of that basket and that clothing in that basket. I used to lay there and I would map out that entire room in my mind as a child. I would drown myself into the room, into the things around me in the room. That is why I remember it. While they were performing oral sex and sexually molesting me. Dwarika Mahabir, the last living brother of my mother, lives in New York, Long Island, Brentwood Apartments, sexually violated me as a child. And when I told the world in 2017, he took to social media since then to this day and further abuses me on social media. I want you to look at me. Look at me. This is my child. This is childhood. This is me. Picture your baby girl. Picture any child. I want you ladies to look at the pain as a child in my face. And I want you to look at me, the woman I've grown up to be. I tell you this story and I retell you this story without tears in my eyes today. But my heart is still heavy. When I first told Trinidad and Tobago this story, many laughed and mocked me and ridiculed me. And I felt I had to defend myself against these persons. The words came out my mouth at times were not nice. It was not nice at all defending myself. I am not proud of it. But I did it the best way I knew how, because nobody stood up for me except my sister, one of my sister, who is my own sister with same mother, different father, and then my other 5 sisters stood with me. I had a neighbor, Alicia is her name, from South Oropouche. I had told her of this story. When I first met her, we became friends, and she became my neighbor and my friend. And her and I would sit on the side of the road, and I would tell her this story. I never went into details with her like how I'm telling you all in details. But I chose to tell this story. This story is mine. Do you understand that? Kia who cussing me, Sunshine who cussing me, and Twiggy who cussing me. Do you understand that? This is my story. You cannot take my story away from me. You cannot tell my story how you want to tell it. It is my story to tell when I am ready to tell my story. Do not take my pain and make a mockery and a laughter out of it. Because you get joy in bringing pain to others. Don't. Don't. So I stand today here, a proud mother of 4 children. I am 47 years of age, and God has bestowed upon me a good husband, a blessed life. And when I moved to United States of America, I was given the voice of my First Amendment right to speak out. But a lot of people in my country, Trinidad and Tobago, laughed at me. They laughed. They said it was good I got raped. They said I was lying with their third world mentality. Up to this day, they still mock me. Up to this day, they still laugh at me. And I want to change that. I want to change the way the world All Caribbean islands look at victims of child sexual abuse. It is happening. It happened to me. It is happening. It happened to me. I'm not ashamed. Over the years, I built a relationship with my abusers. I wanted to see if my abusers would remember how I would feel around them. I wanted closure so badly, and I was looking to the wrong people to give me closure, something I will never get from my family members. At first, my mother did deny me. She did deny me. My mother didn't want to hear. She couldn't believe her brothers would do something like that. Then after, when I was like 9 years old, my mother took me away from my grandmother. She met my stepfather. And they had their own home, not too far from my grandparents. And I went to live with my mother. When I was 16 years old, my stepfather tried to touch me. I was a magnet. Once it happened to you once, you feel like you're a magnet to this type of behavior. My stepfather never raped me. He never sexually molested me. He tried to touch me. And my mother caught him by the bed. My mother caught him. But before my mother caught him, I told my teachers in school about my stepfather and what happened to me as a child growing up. I begged my teacher at Princestown Senior Secondary School, Miss Anne Ramnarine, not to tell my mother because I will get licks. Because I always grew up thinking that I did something wrong, that I deserved what happened to me. People will laugh at me. People will look at me as I'm damaged. I'm of no use. I'm no good. And then I was told I wouldn't get a decent man to get married because they would say I'm used. This is what was instilled in my head as a child growing up. My teacher, she did tell my mother for a Parents' Day. Thank you, Miss Anne Ramnarine. But it was the last day I ever saw school. My mother took my books, my uniform, everything she did not want to hear, put it in the yard, threw kerosene on it, and burnt my books and my uniform. It was the last day I ever saw a school door. Until my mother caught my stepfather at my bed. And she asked him, "What are you doing there?" Do you ladies want details? I'll tell you details. I was 16. I was an older young girl by then. I wasn't a baby anymore. I was an older young girl by then, so I knew what was right and what was wrong. I was sleeping. And my little brother, who is older now, he has his wife and he has 2 children. His name is Rajesh. He used to sleep with me in the same bed when he was a child. My stepfather came to my bed and was telling me, "Come, let me show you how to do it so nobody will damage you." Those were my stepfather's exact words. I will never forget those words. And he tried to lift me off the bed by putting his hands under my legs to lift me like that. I was pinching my little brother under the sheet so he would cry, so my mother would get up because I was scared to scream. All the while, I said in my head, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come." I kept saying that prayers over and over and over in my head because it was the only prayer I knew. Because Miss Ria Hussein, known as Miss Pastor Genevieve Hussein now, taught me that at St. Julian Presbyterian School. My mother woke up. My mother got up and she caught him at the bed. And she said, "What are you doing there? You want my 16-year-old?" And he started to beat her. And then he left and he walked out to the little road in front, the little track in front of our house, and started smoking a cigarette. And I said, "Ma, don't cry now, mommy. Oh God, mommy, don't cry. Mommy, don't say nothing now, mommy. He go beat you. Mommy, please don't say nothing now, mommy. He didn't do me nothing. You only tell me, mommy." I remember telling my mother that. And the both of them separated because his parents took him to get some help because he used to smoke marijuana. He was on drugs or whatever, and they took him to get some help. That was the last day I saw school. A few months after, my mother took him back, and I ran away from home and went to live with my grandmother. I was about 18 by now. My mother never sent my clothes by my grandmother. My grandmother used to get NIS money from my grandfather because my grandfather had thus passed away. Dwarika had moved out. Winston was the only one there. Aaron was living there still. He was living in the older house down the hill because my grandfather built another house up the hill. We used to live where the cemetery is, St. Julian Cemetery. So I was older now, and my mother had one of her sisters there. My grandmother was still alive. My grandmother used to collect NIS money from my grandfather, which was $40 at those days a month. So my grandmother would buy me an underwear. And when I have two underwear, I wash one, put one to dry, and put on. That's what. And then my grandmother sent me to learn a food preservation course at the Hard Bargain Community Center. The same uncle who used to touch me when I was a child, Winston Mahabir, used to drop me and would pick me back up. I felt uncomfortable around him, but he was my uncle. I had to love him. I had to be around him. I wanted to be around them, and I didn't know why. We're going to come to that. My grandmother then married me off at the age 18 years old. And in another video, I'm going to tell you my torment as a young married woman, a young mother, the torment and abuse I put up with as an abused woman. So it was from one torment, one abuse to the next. My life didn't get perfect just like this, Kia. Sunshine, my life didn't just get perfect like this. Twiggy, you cussing me and telling me my uncle and my mother and my sister, all of them finger me and run through my vagina for a big old woman. My life didn't just get like this. Do not judge me. You cannot walk a mile in my shoes. You are cursing me on social media for what? My life story? Huh? You are discrediting me. You are degrading me. You are slandering me because I told my life story. You all are talking about everything. Every day you all are cursing and abusing me on social media. So when you see this life I have, you do not know the torment. You do not know the struggles. You do not know the pain. You do not know the tears that I shed before God finally put his hand in my life. So you three needs to sit down and shut up and stop being so nasty to others and to myself. You don't know me. I am retelling this story because I have a lot of new viewers. And I'm telling this story because I am tired of cursing to defend myself. I want the world now to see me, Asha Samaroo, the real Asha Samaroo, the woman who was beaten, abused from a child all the way to she was 22 years old. And she made her life. I made me who I am today. And I want to teach you women, you could do the same. This is me, ladies and gentlemen. This is me as a child. This is me. Look at me. Never forget my face. Never forget that image of me. I was 6 years old when Dwarika Mahabir sexually molested me. I grew up and thinking that I have to be the perfect niece. I invited that man into my home. I tried to build a relationship to be the good niece. And one may ask who don't know, and you can ask any psychologist this. Why did she build a relationship with her abusers? Why did she trust her abusers? Why did she wanted to be close to her abusers? Because I wanted closure. I wanted to feel like I belong. I wanted to believe in my head that it didn't happen to me. But who was I fooling? It happened. I wanted to believe they didn't hurt me. I got close. I even hugged Dwarika Mahabir and take pictures as a big woman, me now. 6 years ago, 5 years ago, to see how I would feel around him. I felt uncomfortable, but I knew he couldn't hurt me anymore. I knew I didn't have any fear, no reason to be scared of him. I so wanted him to say sorry, or I can't remember. I wanted that closure. But I looked to the wrong people for closure. Asking what happened to my stepfather? My stepfather apologized to me almost 12 years now. He said to me when I was living in Trinidad, in my living room, in my house, "Forgive me, Asha, if I said or did anything to hurt you." He took responsibility for his actions, and I forgave him. And I talk to him today. I laugh with them. I invite him at my home. When I'm visiting Trinidad, I buy him things. I buy my mother things. Because forgiveness is the greatest peace of mind you will ever gain in this world. But you don't have to forgive an abuser, you know. You forgive for you. You don't forgive for anybody. You forgive for you. So my ladies and gentlemen out there, moms, dads, random people, you may not like this lady sitting before you because of the words that comes out of my mouth at times. But I have lived a life of pain and struggle. And to tell my story to the world took a lot of courage. And then to be abused by my own people. I felt I had to defend myself the best way I knew how. Because all my life people abused me. All my life people tell me I was worthless. All my life people kicked me down. All my life people spat upon me. All my life my family members judged me. They laughed at me. And they told me the super magical word that you are lying. They told me I was lying, that people will laugh at me. Well, guess what? People who are laughing. I told my story. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to make a difference? Or are you going to live in your third world mentality still? I told my story. It was mine to tell when I was ready to the world. And that burden, that stigma, I carried to my name for being abused as a child. I wiped that off my forehead. I am no longer ashamed. I'm no longer scared. While growing up in my community in St. Julian, I had to listen to the boys in my community would laugh and say, and let me tell you, oh God, girl, give me a little piece now. You give everybody your uncle and your stepfather, everybody get a little piece and we ain't get none, girl. Those were the things that were said to me by these boys growing up in the community. Do you see now, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean islands, with the third world mentality? Do you see what happens to a child? Do you see what happens to a young girl? And do you see what a young woman grows up to be? I have a message for you, Dwarika, Mahabir. Little girls do grow up. They grow up and remember what was done to them. Never forget that. I will be in your face for the rest of your life until you have your last dying breath. You can try all how to paint a picture of me to the world that I'm racist, I'm nasty, I'm a horrid woman. But I stand by my words. And I swear on the Holy Bible, I swear on the Holy Quran, and I swear on the Holy Gita that you violated me as a child. You may get away with the law by man, but you will never get away by God. Never. You have to live with that shame. Your children have to live with that shame. My mother has to live with that shame. My parents' family have to live with that shame. Not me. It was not my fault. It was not my fault. I did nothing wrong. Remember that. Never forget this child face. It will haunt you till you die, Dwarika. Never forget my face as a child. It's going to haunt you till the day you die. So to my fair people in Trinidad and Tobago and around the Caribbean, you think you know someone? Get to know them for yourselves before you abuse them on social media. They are fighting something that you cannot help with. They are fighting to survive. Women like myself who have been sexually violated as a child. We are fighting to keep our heads above water. We are struggling to breathe. Because many don't come out and speak like me. Many suffer in silence up to this day at the age 50, 60 and die with their secret. Well, I'm here to tell you, ladies, you have nothing to be ashamed of. Do and you will be criticized. Don't do and you will still be criticized. So do what is right for you. Because you matter as a human being and as an individual. As a woman, you matter. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing this afternoon with me. And then we will do another video speaking after I got married. And I will share my domestic violence abuse to you, ladies. You see Asha Samaroo sitting here before you. You see Asha Samaroo is being called names all over social media. You see Asha Samaroo cussing back people. Get to know why first before you pass judgment. To the world I am saying this message to now. I am from a little country called Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. A lot of people say Trinidad and Tobago. I am the first woman in Trinidad and Tobago that came out and spoke of her sexual abuse on social media, showing my face to the world. And there are 3 individuals by the name of social media Facebook. Sunshine, her Facebook page is Free Yourself. Kia, better known that Hamil Hussein, better known as Kia, as Kia Hussein on social media and Twiggy Willa Willa. 3 women, or 2 women and a half, have cursed me, have disrespected me, have called me names, have judged me, have laughed at me because I was violated as a child, who said it was good, who said I lied. To the world, these 3 women, 2 women and a transgender, laughed in my face, laughed on the entire social media in Trinidad and Tobago. Up to this day, they bully me on social media, where sometimes I have to bring myself down to such a low level to curse them back. Because they think they could tell my life story. They think that this child here is lying. They think they could take this child's voice away. They think they could take this woman's voice away. No one can. No one can. Thank you to the world for listening. And thank you to all the women and men and the people in my country. Thank you very, very much for your love, your respect, and support. Do not pity me, because I do not want anybody's pity. I have freed myself, and the information I gave you as a woman, how you choose to let it impact your life, it is up to you, the people in the Caribbean islands. Because a lot of us still have that third world mentality. Change it. Before I go, ladies, listen to your babies. Put what you're doing down, stop it, and listen to them. Give them an ear. A child wouldn't lie. A child wouldn't lie about something like that. Something is happening. Pay attention to your children. It happened to me. It happened to me, and it hurt me for 40 years in my life. 40 years of my life I suffered. 40 years of my life I tried to make sense, to mend things, to feel that it didn't happen. And it happened, people. To the world, it happened. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you, and thank you very, very much for your attention. Take care. God bless. My name is Asha Samaroo. I am the CEO and founder of the Asha Samaroo Foundation. And I want you to never, Dwarika Mahabir, I want you to never forget my face. And I want you to know, I want you to never forget my face, Dwarika Mahabir. Never forget my face, Dwarika Mahabir. Let this memory haunt you. And I grew up. I'm not scared of you anymore. I grew up. And I remember what you did to me. To my mom, I love you and I forgive you. And to Dwarika Mahabir, I may not get justice by man or by law, but I am sure God is going to give me justice against you. So take care, ladies. God have a blessed day. God bless each and every one of you. Be safe. Look out for our children. Don't let your child go through what I did. It was not an easy thing. Okay? I would cry myself to sleep. I would wish and pray for God to kill me. There was those Eden Blyton books. And I would pretend I'm in a magical world just to forget This child wanted to forget. This child here wanted to forget what they did to her. They took my voice away as a child. They silenced me for years. And I will not be silent anymore. Take care and God bless, ladies. Bye-bye.